Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mama Pies Before the Lesson podcast. I'm your host, Carlos Smiley. We thank you for joining us this week, and we're continuing in our seemingly quarter long study of the book of John. On last week, we saw the actions of Jesus when he drove the money changers, the animals, and the livestock from inside of the temple courts. We heard the exchange between Jesus and the Jewish leadership as they questioned his authority to do such a thing. You see, they wanted him on the record as they were continuing to construct a case against him. We all remember Jesus' response when he told them to destroy this temple, and in 3 days, I'll raise it up again. We also remember the lesson before last, when Jesus did indeed raise his temple up again after the crucifixion. Now, the reason that they were so bent on taking Jesus down was because his following and his fame were growing rapidly. And the more that people decided to follow Jesus, the worse business got for the Jewish leadership. Basically, he was bad for business. The Apostle John gives us intimate insight into those works of Jesus that continued to raise the ire of the Jewish establishment. How he raised the dead, how he healed the sick, how he made the blind see, how he fed the 5,000, and the list goes on. Not only that, he also shared with us Jesus' philosophy on how to walk right, how to talk right, how to live right, how to be right. Y'all remember the Beatitudes and the similitudes. Jesus had gone from his time not yet having come to challenging the authorities of not just the Jewish nation, but also the Roman Empire. Jesus is, as in the words of Stephen A. Smith, a bad man. So this week, we'll be taking a detailed look not at physical miracles of Jesus, but we'll be looking at one of the many mental miracles of Jesus. It speaks to how families fall out with one another, how they stay mad for so long that generations later, many of them can't tell each other, much less a stranger, why their families were mad at each other in the first place. But Jesus appends their isolation party and helps them to refocus and to once again make the main thing the main thing. Hopefully, after today's conversation, we'll all better understand the significance of the conversation between Jesus and the woman at the well. We will find our failures, our less than moments, but just as importantly, we will remember that dream that we were chasing that somehow got lost along the way. We'll learn to stop avoiding our deepest hurts and pains and recognizing that still waters do indeed run deep. We will connect with Jesus on more than just a surface level. We will feel more personally in tune with and understanding of the challenges of our biblical heroes in the upcoming Sunday school lesson that they had to deal with. So if you like what you hear, click the button below and subscribe to our channel. The title of Sunday's lesson is Woman of Samaria. The scriptural basis of our lesson is out of John chapter 4. So the question for me, and maybe for you too, is how did we get from there to here? The lessons have taken us on a whirlwind approach to the events of Jesus' life that led to the crucifixion and the resurrection. We've seen the penultimate event, which was the resurrection, after which the lessons stepped back into the earthly life of Jesus, i.e. the cleansing of the temple, and again this week, relative to the conversation between Jesus and the woman of Samaria. Let's dig into this thing and see can we figure it out. You know, what's so crazy, if you will, relative to the situation that we'll discuss on Sunday, is that these are the descendants of the same brothers and sisters. Literally, they left Egypt together. Jacob's boys, the children of Israel, the same set of folks that Moses gave the law to, the same set of folks that agreed to follow the 10 Commandments, the same set of folks that built the nation together, and the same set of folks that saw sin and unrighteousness tear that nation down. The children of Israel, forgetting their family ties and only recognizing each other as Jews and Samaritans. The animosity between the Jews, who were the descendants of Judah and Benjamin, and inhabitants of the southern kingdom, and Israelites, who were the descendants of the other 10 brothers and inhabitants of the northern kingdom, also known as Israel. It began immediately after the division of the United Kingdom. Samaria became the capital city of the northern kingdom, with Jeroboam as its first king. Rehoboam, Solomon's son and the first king of the southern kingdom, assembled an army to fight against Israel and try to reunite the kingdom. But how many of us know that when the door is shut and when God's got the key, ain't no getting back in? 1 Kings 15:6 tells us that there was war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all the days of their life. Immediately after the division, Jeroboam changed the worship of the Israelites. No longer did the Jews of the northern kingdom travel to Jerusalem to offer sacrifice and worship. Instead, Jeroboam set up idols in the northern kingdom cities of Dan and Bethel. Later, after Israel's fall to Assyria, those that were left after the best and brightest were carried away to the foreign land began to intermarry with the Assyrians. Now, this was contrary to what they were directed to do in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy told them that neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire. This is why the Jews hated the Samaritans and called them dogs and half-breeds. Eventually, the religion of the Samaritans evolved to the point that they observed only the Pentateuch, that being Genesis, the book of Genesis, through the book of Deuteronomy, as being the law of God. They rejected all the other books of poetry and prophecy. During the time of Jesus, Samaria was between Galilee in the north and Judea and Jerusalem in the south. The shortest way for Jewish people to go north from Jerusalem or south from Galilee was to travel through Samaria. However, for hundreds of years, the Jews and the people of Samaria had been enemies. Most Jews wouldn't even travel through Samaria. They chose to cross the Jordan River instead of going through Samaria. Y'all remember the story that Jesus told of the Good Samaritan after he had been asked by a Jewish man, "What must I do to receive eternal life?" Jesus asked him what the Jewish law said, and he answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." Jesus told him, "You've answered correctly. Do this, and you will live." The man then asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" The Jews and the Samaritans were much more than neighbors. They were blood, but they hated each other profusely. That's why, as we open chapter 4, we find Jesus humanly tired in his body and not willing to unnecessarily travel across the Jordan River just to go from Judea to Galilee. He decides to travel directly through Samaria. This is more than just a physical tiredness. It's a divine calling and compulsion to go and see about his brothers and his sisters. Jesus knew that the Jewish leadership was watching him to ultimately bring him down however they could. They were spreading rumors that Jesus was baptizing more people than John the Baptist. Although it wasn't Jesus, it was actually Jesus' disciples who were doing the baptizing. So as they are traveling through Samaria, Jesus informs his disciples that he would wait for them while they went to buy food at a well in the city of Sychar. This particular well had history. Y'all remember Jacob/Israel before his death. He gave Joseph, who was his favorite son, a blessing in which he called him a fruitful bough by a well. The blessing was fulfilled, as this territory was allotted to the tribes of Joseph's two boys, Ephraim and Manasseh. Their land was a fertile land that eventually became Samaria. So there, in Sychar, by Jacob's well, that was given as a blessing to his son Joseph, Jesus sat down. It was around noontime. We'll learn the lesson on Sunday about the woman that arrived there at the well shortly after Jesus did to draw water. We will learn her pain, her struggles, her feelings of being discriminated against, even within her own race, her silently suffering. This was a woman that had been chasing an elusive target all of her life. From that perspective, I can relate to the woman at the well, never quite feeling that a thing in my life was ever quite settled. Almost sacred, almost scared for a thing to be completely settled in my life because of my fear of what's next, the fear of moving on from a thing or missing out on a thing, the fear of having to be just a little uncomfortable because I was afraid of what my next might look like. It's that vicious cycle of life that keeps you stuck, subconsciously telling myself that I'd rather stay stuck in my less than launch out on what God has placed before me and told me that it was already mine. Mary said it best, go get it. But what I found out in this life walk is that no amount of chasing, no amount of working, no amount of networking will ever satisfy or quench that thirst for the living water that Jesus is offering. I can also relate to the woman at the well through the lens of her masking the deep hurt, the deep pain that she had encountered in her life walk. What was she hiding? Or perhaps a better way to say it is, what was she avoiding? We all know that still waters run deep. We know that the more we focus on a thing, positive or negative, the more real that thing becomes. Why else would she come to the well in the heat of the day? Maybe the answer to that question is that she wanted to avoid the looks and the whispers that she would receive if other people were around. Sometimes we need a secret place, a place where we can just go and be alone and away from all the messiness that is this world. I submit to you that she scheduled that daily time at the well so that she wouldn't have to confront her deepest pains. But it was there at the well, as she was wallowing in her deepest hurts, her deepest regrets, that she met a man. Not just a man, she met the Messiah. Now, ain't that just like Jesus? She had finally found a place where she could get away from all the riffraff, where she could close her eyes and dream of the life that she could have had. She met the one entity, the one being that could help her to gain life eternal. And finally, on Sunday, we'll witness her go tell it on the mountain moment. Scripture tells us that so the woman left her water jar and went away into town and said to the people, come, see a man who told me all that I ever did. Can this be the Christ? They went out of town and came out to meet him. Many Samaritans from Sychar believed in him because of the woman's testimony. He told me all that I ever did. So when the Samaritans came to him, they asked him to stay with them, and he stayed there for a couple of days. And many more believed because of his words. You see, there's nothing like arriving at your strength, arriving at your purpose and your calling. When you finally get there, you just got to go tell it. You got to go shout it. You got to go run. It's an unspeakable joy that continues to bubble up from the inside. Your smile makes other people smile. Your words inspire and motivate others. It's that spirit that resides inside of you that makes you want to run on and see what the end gonna be. Jesus created that place of love, truth, redemption, and acceptance that the woman at the well had been missing for a lifetime. A place where you can come and get filled so you can go out and do and live your God given best life. So now we know. If you're anything like me, you can't wait till Sunday to affirm her transformation, to find our own strength through this woman from Samaria. We'll see a human Jesus that's comfortable in the skin that he's in. We'll hear about a drink of water that will quench your everlasting thirst. All that we got to do is be willing to have the conversation. Looking forward to next week's lesson as we go back in and dig a little deeper here on the Before the Lesson podcast. Until next time, be blessed.